And so that's the basis of what I want to get down to, is that in almost all relationships that we will go through and experience that will matter to us, that have importance in our lives, or that we, that we take as important, people that may not seem that important from the outside looking into us, but that we in our hearts, take and see as important. Our interactions with them, because of this, tend to have a much greater, far greater emotional charge. And we tend to be far more attached to the nature of those emotions. And thus we have a far, far greater effect occurring over our immediate and present state. I mean, the moment they show up. Something, you're having a conversation with your significant other about something that y'all usually agree on, that in that moment you don't agree on, and it's something that's really important between y'all, and you're not agreeing that day for some reason. It makes no sense to you, and you're desperately trying to figure out why are we not? This is something that we always agree on. Why is it that it seems to me that they have changed their mind? They've changed their stance on this all of a sudden. But see, in the reality, it may not be that. It may be that in that morning, they've changed what to you was their stance. When in fact, maybe their stance was just, in agreement with you to appease you out of their own selflessness, right? And maybe you thought it was for the reason you thought it was for. It turns out that it's not for that reason. It turns out that they're just doing the best that they can to be at one with you, be at peace with you, have good relationship with you. And on that day, they need it to be a little bit more about them for whatever reason. There's a million reasons why that could be the case. We all do it. So, don't look too deep into that. Just realize when on that day, they need it to be a little bit more about them. And don't worry about what it feels like. Don't worry about the illusion of the separation that it seems to create. Don't worry about the fact that y'all are not in perfect agreement with all the reasons why, or the motives or whatever, right? Just go with it. Like, let it be what it is. If things usually go well between you and whoever you're applying this to, then don't let the unusual circumstance, don't let the thing that comes out of the side surprising you be the thing that changes your interaction with them, with each other. Don't let that thing that is not a part of the normal equation become a part of the normal equation by putting focus or giving it any attention at all. Let it pass. Just be willing to, it doesn't matter if they've done you wrong and you've got the right to be mad. Just choose not to be. See, nobody else can make you feel anything. Only you control your emotions. So someone may be able to choose to do something to you that may, typically speaking, in your mind hurt you or cause you pain. But typically speaking, the only reason anybody does you causes you pain is because you choose to feel it. Because you choose to allow yourself to be taken in and drawn in and sucked in to that emotion. You choose to feel that. Now, there are some things that, while we have the power to choose different states, there are some circumstances and events that, at least at that point in time in our life, are just too big for us to not feel pain or anger or frustration. But see, even those things that are bigger than our ability to choose are for the purpose of God's teaching us how to choose over the size of those situations and circumstance, to train us to be able to choose joy, choose peace, just outright by the will of purpose and decision and the dedication to live in that life, choose to be good and to be happy and to be peaceable and to be kind and gentle, even in the face of the worst kinds of adversity and the worst kinds of disagreements and the worst kinds of chaos and discord. Choose. Just choose. Like, it sounds so ridiculous that something that, some radical disagreement of something that somebody does to you that you care about so much, that it's like, if you care about them so much, why are they doing this to me? It's like, it's so screwed up, man. Like, I never do this to them and I'm always, but see, in reality, There's a much bigger question, because the pain you're feeling, they're not doing to you. The emotion you're feeling as a result of what they're doing, they're not doing that either. The emotion you're feeling and the pain anything you are feeling as a result of anything anyone else is doing is you're doing to yourself. See, only you can choose how you feel. No one can choose how you feel for you. No one. Even God won't do that. And only he can, and he won't. So you have to choose for yourself how you will feel in any given situation. Only you can. And for the relationships that matter to you most, no matter how deserving it seems to you that they are of, a whiplash, an outlashing, you don't want to be the person whose responses to typical situations and typical negativities and the everyday typical relationship, you don't want to be the person whose response is typical, because your results will be typical. 87% last time I checked, I think it's now in like the 90s, of all marriages end in divorce. And it's a much higher rate for engagements. So see, you don't want your responses to screwy situations, even if it is their fault, to be typical. Because your life will be typical, which means unsuccessful, which means striving for nothing every day, which means all your progress every time you make it will be in vain. It will be lost. It will be undone until you learn these lessons of how to not, it's not about controlling your emotions. That's far more difficult than choosing. You can feel something and choose not to let it become you. You can feel something and choose not to let it invade your body and become a part of your actions and reactions. And that's the first step to defeating them. That's the first step to annihilating those emotions that are able to annihilate your joy. You must, by force of will and choice and devotion to the discipline of deciding, by a truly forceful act of will against your own body's desire to react to given situations, you must choose how you will feel. And if you begin to practice and develop choosing how you will feel in total disregard of the situations you find yourself in and the things that people are doing to you, what you will also discover is that when you're around the people that you care about the most, people that in fact care about you, you will see how much easier it is to choose and actually find that it's a much more natural choice when you're around those people. It's not nearly as difficult if you were by force of will choosing in every area of your life how you will feel, regardless of the circumstance or situation. You will discover that by making this a practice and by devoting to it the people that you care about the most, you will see that it's much easier and much more natural now, instead of that being the most difficult place in your life where you're having negative emotional experiences in the places that matter most to you. You'll find that in fact that's the place where things go most harmonious and are easier to make those choices, because you care about those people more. So once you've practiced the choice of overcoming your own emotions for the sake of selflessness and servitude, for the sake of the other, for the sake of the love of God on the people that you care about most, you will find that it will reward you instantaneously. And you will be no less challenged, and the challenge will not come any less often. But it will be far more natural for you to demonstrate the character of Christ and end up in a situation where you find yourself in joy, in reward, in response to the difficulties, instead of being undone by them and losing everything. Let me know what you think. I might be right, I might be wrong. That's what I discovered this morning, and I've been hot on the trail of it. And these are not things that I've just learned. These are things that I've just been reminded of. And I thought it important to share with y'all, because it's things that everyone I know, including myself, have struggled with for quite some time. And I realize that it's far more important to hold myself up to the bar of the behavior, of the standard that I believe we should all live by. If it's the standard that I believe in that we should live by, then it's the standard that I, at least, must live by. Totally in disregard to whatever situation, circumstance, or treatment that I find myself under. And if I'm to expect this of anyone else, they need to be able to expect it of me first. Let me know what y'all think.